Good day and welcome to this webinar, AI Dubbing, the New Black in Media, hosted by Digital TV Europe and sponsored by Dubformer. I'm Stuart Thompson, I'm the editor of Digital TV Europe. Before we begin, I'd like to explain how you can participate in today's session. First, if you have any technical difficulties, please press the help button on your player console to receive assistance in solving common issues. We welcome questions, and to submit those to today's speakers, simply type them into the window on your screen and then hit the submit button. We'll answer as many questions as possible during the Q&A session that follows the main discussion, but please feel free to send in questions at any time and we'll add them to the queue. If at any time you're having difficulty with the audio or difficulties seeing the slides advance, please hit the F5 key to refresh your webcast console. And please also be aware that today's session is being recorded and it will be available on the Digital TV Europe website, and you'll be notified by email when it's in the archive. So I'll just begin by introducing today's speakers. I'm joined by Anton Dvorkovich, who's the CEO of Dubformer. Anton's an entrepreneur and engineering manager with 10 years of experience working on large-scale machine learning heavy products. He's passionate about machine translation and breaking language barriers. Also joined by pardon me, Alex Hrinyevich, who's Director of Content at Little Dot Studios. Little Dot, for those who don't know it, is a digital content agency and media network. Alex oversees a division of over 30 staff members, ensuring the delivery of engaging content across major digital video platforms and social media channels. He's responsible for driving revenue growth strategies, providing senior leadership, and implementing strategic initiatives to foster growth within the Little Dot Studios network. And that includes managing channels and brands, as well as focusing on growth and monetization. We're going to begin with a presentation by Anton, and then we'll follow that up with a discussion. So Anton, please take it away.
Sure, thank you very much for the introduction. Yes, I'm Anton, I'm CEO at Dubformer, and today we're going to talk about AI dubbing. We're going to start from short introduction of what it is, what Dubformer is. Then we'll talk a little bit about what is AI dubbing and how it's actually applied to the media industry, which value does it bring. Then we'll talk about how AI dubbing is structured. So basically, where's the collaboration between artificial intelligence and humans there. Then we'll dive a little bit deeper into the technology that's behind AI dubbing that we do. And we're gonna end with the example of a real life project that we're doing with Little Dot Studios with Alex as well. So let me start. I'm trying to save more time for discussion, so I'm trying to be quick. So Dubformer is a startup. We focus on professional AI dubbing for media industry. So we have lots of expertise in artificial intelligence and all the different kind of technology, machine translation, speech recognition, speech synthesis, and stuff like that. So we built our own technology, but we pair it with human in the loop because, we believe that to deliver the best possible quality, we need to do that. And we started pretty recently, I think, so in April this year, but we already have nice, great results. We have almost 160,000 minutes of content localized, meaning dubbing and voiceover. Some of our content just last week was launched for the first time on TV. So unfortunately, our partner is not willing to disclose the details about that. But it was several episodes of a French show localized into Spanish. So we have in our technology we have support for more than 70 languages, and we have more than 1,000 voices there. What is AI dubbing? So what are we talking here about? So AI dubbing is basically an approach to video content localization instead of traditional dubbing, where human actors create the dubbed audio track. Instead, robotic voices or generative voices or artificial intelligence voices are used to generate the resulting audio track, and it's verified by humans in order to achieve the like 100% accuracy. So yeah, AI dubbing is there in place of traditional dubbing process, and what you need to understand if you don't know that by this time, the traditional dubbing process is really complicated and long and hard to implement. So it consists of lots of different stages. You start from creating the script for the content that you have, then you translate it, then you adapt the translation so it's more of a script for the dubbing. Then you kind of find a dubbing studio that can work with you. They start casting voice actors. Then they make the actual recording in the studio. Then the post-production kicks in, and God forbid, in this stage you need to fix something, some phrases, some words. Then you need to get this voice actor back. Maybe they flew already to some other country. It's really painful and hard to organize and manage the whole process. So AI dubbing is kind of replaces this whole complicated process by a single solution. That's what we're trying to do. So what's the value that AI dubbing brings to the media industry? So four biggest pains with which AI dubbing helps is it reduces costs, so it's much cheaper. It's much faster in terms of turnaround times. It's simpler to use, and more flexible. So, for example, as I mentioned, if you need to fix something or tweak some phrases in the dubbed content, it's pretty easy and straightforward to do. And also, it's scalable to all the different languages. So, with the dubbing studios, it's not unusual if you need to find another studio for each of the languages that you need to support. Yeah, dubbing is kind of your one-stop shop to do that. And as we speak, AI dubbing is no longer a future, it's already a reality. It's getting real world traction, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So how to understand that AI dubbing is suitable for your business and you can implement it already, you can start using that. So basically, if your content is more narrative, more meaningful than emotional, so if you're doing documentaries, other kinds of factual content, something about science, newscasts, lifestyle, TV, then AI dubbing is really good for you. AI dubbing is also that depends on the regions where you want your content to be expanded to. So in some regions, people are kind of so they're used to just watching, I don't know, movies with subtitles. So movies stays in English or French or whatever original language is, and they just use subtitles. But there are lots of places where people just are not used to that, and they instead are used to dubbing and voiceover for localization, which in general provides a better viewer experience. So if you are willing to consider your audience's needs and expectations, then AI dubbing is good for you as well. Also, you need to consider which languages do you need, what kind of speaker profiles do you need, are you happy with voiceover, or do you need a lip sync dubbing, and yeah, this all affects the decision of whether you're ready or not ready to use AI dubbing for you. So in terms of languages, what Dubformer offers is that we have 7 languages available as an input. So original content could be in either English, Chinese, German, French, Spanish, or Italian. And by the way, 12 more languages are on the way. Hopefully we'll add them in the week after that, or this week or the week after that. Also, there's more than 70 languages that the content could be translated into. So 70 different languages for voiceover and dubbing. And in these 70 languages, more than 1,000 different voices, including regional variation, including different speaker profiles, including accents and stuff like that. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the key for AI dubbing to work is AI plus human collaboration. So basically combining artificial and human intelligence together. We view artificial intelligence as a tool and not as a replacement to humans. This is basically our vision for how AI dubbing could actually deliver broadcast level quality. How does this collaboration, how is this collaboration structured? So basically, there are several different steps to AI dubbing as well, even though it's like a single solution. There are different steps. So you start from creating a transcription, then you do the speaker designation and labeling, what's sometimes called diarization. Then you do the translation part. Then you do audio track manipulation. You remove original voices for dubbing, or you make them a little bit more silent in case of voiceover. And then you actually do the neural voiceover. So most of the stages, there is a place for a human to do the quality control, to identify the mistakes and fix them. So how does it work? On every stage, human experts that we have, they verify that context is respected, cultural, the content is adapted to some specific things about the regional culture, that the terms are translated in a way that are expected. Everything's pronounced correctly, all the duration of each sentence makes sense, and it's synchronized with the video. So when we talk about text, it's really important to respect the context. Also, just as I mentioned, take into consideration cultural aspects, and glossaries, that stands for translating some individual terms in the way that you want them to be translated, which is a very common thing when you're dealing with named entities like company names or names of people, like surnames and first names as well. So when we control the quality of dubbing, we take into consideration how every word is pronounced. Again, very, very tricky and very important for things like surnames and stuff like that. We take care about the speech duration because, of course, there's big difference between the natural duration of speech in different languages. This might be a big problem when you dub your content into different language, and you need to take care of that. You also need to take care about take care of synchronization of audio and video. This is what we address with our AI plus human collaboration. So based on the technology that we create, we have several different solutions. So the biggest, the most important one is the one in the middle. So it's AI dubbing with human verification, with human collaboration, the one that I described. Of course, because there is human in the loop, even though it's significantly cheaper than traditional dubbing, it's still somewhat expensive. And for some of our customers, it could be a blocker. And if they are willing to compromise quality to get cheaper dubbing, so maybe they, for some reason, do not want like the 100% guaranteed quality that we can do, they can use our AI solution without human verification, and we see some usage to that. One benefit to this AI solution is that without the human verification step, everything could be done in near real time. So this is what's suitable for translating live streams, for example, news, sports, and stuff like that. And also for the technical partners, we're able to to give the AI dubbing API. This is something that we offer as well. So to dive a little bit deeper about into interesting things that happen under the hood of technology that we have, I'll just show you a few different things. So there's a smarter translation, smarter than your regular machine translation that we apply. So basically, we make use of context. Our technology makes use of context. So in this educational video about chess, the image, the topic of the video is taken into consideration, and the word bishop is translated correctly into Spanish. So it's a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of tricky stuff is going on with voiceover part, of course. So we have a big library with lots of different generative voices with different profiles, different genders, different ages, different styles of speech, different emotions as well. Interesting thing is that for the efficient AI plus human collaboration, we create specific tools how these proof listeners can fix mistakes if they identify any mistakes in pronunciation, in intonation contour of every phrase and stuff like that. Another interesting thing is voice cloning. So for dubbing the content, not unlike traditional dubbing studios, we can use the voice. This is that is generated specifically for this speaker, for this actor in this specific video with very similar characteristics as original. Yeah, this is called voice cloning. And what we experiment right now, but don't use actually in the project for now, is dynamic emotion transfer, of what we call, is identifying that not just the general profile of speech of a person in the original video, but identifying local emotions and tying them with specific words and transferring this information to the through the AI dubbing to the target language. It's a very exciting area for research for us, and we have really nice prototypes there, I want to say. So there's also lots to do with post-production. So once you've created generative voices, once you've used them to create individual sentences and basically do the text, do the speech synthesis, then you actually need to create the soundtrack on top of that. There's a thing that's called smart voiceover, where you actually need to dynamically adjust the volume of the background noise, replace original speech with translated speech as well. There's something that's called ducking. It's also has to do with the volume of the background noise going up and down whenever the person is speaking or is silent in translated video. Interesting thing is that, based on the industry standards, of course, there should be a different volume for each character if they're on screen or off screen at the moment. So we need to adjust for that as well. So we need to consider what's happening on the screen. Also transferring sound effects like echo and reverberation from the original voice track. Everything's crucial there. And there's also something that's called lip sync AI dubbing. Because of course everyone wants their dub content to appear natural, the timings of each phrase and actually the wording of each phrase needs to be adjusted for the dubbing to seem natural. So in the future, it might be that the technology will come to the point where we can actually manipulate the video and change the movements of the lips of people in the video in order to do the perfect lip sync. But at the moment, what is done, and it's actually pretty similar with traditional dubbing, is adjusting the wording and the timings for every phrase. And it's nice and exciting algorithms when you try and do that automatically, like we do. So I briefly described like how the technology is structured and some interesting points that I wanted to highlight about the former technology, but everything's not so interesting when you hear about it like in theory. I just want to show you a video of the application of what we do to the real world. It's actually the project that we're doing in partnership with Little Dot Studios and Alex here on the call. Without further ado, let's just view the video. Yeah, can we play the video now?
This is the story of a man who made an entire family disappear. The story of an extraordinary deception by a ruthless criminal, a man who almost succeeded in outwitting the police by committing a crime so unique and horrific, no one dared to believe it had taken place. 5 years earlier, Regan had been a successful drug smuggler, known to his friends as Captain Cash.
Esta es la historia de un hombre que hizo desaparecer a toda una familia. La historia de un extraordinario engaño por parte de un hombre que casi consigue burlar a la policía cometiendo un crimen tan único y horrible que nadie se atrevía a creer que hubiera tenido lugar. 5 años antes, Reagan había sido un exitoso contrabandista de drogas, conocido por sus amigos como el Capitán Cash.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, you've seen in the video, first there was an original version of this true crime series, and then there was a portion of AI dubbed part from English into Spanish. So yeah, I guess this is the end of my presentation, and let's go into the discussion. Stuart. No, to you.
Thanks very much, Anton. That was a fascinating walkthrough of how AI dubbing works and some of the technical issues that you have to look at when you're doing it. It's very detailed, very interesting stuff. So to begin with the discussion part, I'd like to turn to Alex, because obviously you're someone who has adopted this, who's used it. Why did you decide to look at AI dubbing initially, and why did you in the end decide to go this way rather than down the traditional localization route?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we at Little Dot Studios, worth sort of giving a little bit of background. I'm not sure how many people on the webinar will sort of know who Little Dot are, but Little Dot, we do lots of things. We run a lot of channels on social media, on social video platforms like YouTube and Facebook. A lot of those are run on an agency basis where we are working on behalf of other people. But we have a division of the company, which I'm one of the directors of, which is our network, where we license content for our own channels. So this is content that obviously already exists. It's already been, in most cases, produced for broadcasters, worldwide broadcasters and streamers. And we license that content in the secondary market from the distributors or the producers or the studios, and sort of rebroadcast it on our own channels to attract new global audiences. And we've been doing that for many years, very successfully. We've grown those channels. We now have over 50 of those, but 48 of them are English language. We've got 47 because we've got 2 Spanish and 1 French language channel. And we always recognized that there was this huge global audience that we weren't reaching. But partly because of the kind of, I suppose, the limitations of our ability to get sufficient quantities of content that was non-English language, we were limited in the channels that we were launching to just a handful of non-English language channels. And so we generally work on a revenue share basis with partners. We do increasingly operate on a license fee basis as well. But because we're working on a revenue share basis, it sets quite a high barrier or bar for what is justified in terms of translation or localization of content. So of course, if content has already been localized, then we are able to use that content if our partners are able to license it to us. And that's what we've used to launch our existing Spanish and French language channels. But when we were looking at the costs of localizing our English language content to try and add more content to those channels, and indeed to launch more native French and Spanish language channels in particular, the costs just didn't really stack up. And the thing that has changed for us is the AI tools that have come along, the quality of them, and also the lower cost than traditional dubbing. But also, in particular on YouTube, there's now the capacity to add non-English language audio to English videos, which massively increases the potential reach of this content. So we're not just having to launch a new Spanish channel or a new French channel on spec. We can take content that already exists and we can put a dubbed French track, a dubbed Spanish track onto YouTube, and if you're in that country or a country which speaks that language, you will have the option of turning the original audio to the new localized audio. So that has opened up a whole host of new opportunities for us, potential new revenue streams for us and our partners. So it felt like the right time.
Great. So it's cost is obviously a huge issue with localization, and this helps you massively with that, but also it expands the availability universe of things you can do. It gives you much more flexibility about trying new things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do without it.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been very aware that we've only ever sort of had a relatively narrow focus in terms of where our audience is. It's the UK, it's the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and then the sort of the rest of the world where there are English speakers, which obviously is a very high number of people speak English as a second or other language. But the idea of being able to engage people in their native language obviously is hugely valuable. And a lot of this content has never been available before, because I think the other thing that's worth saying is that it's not necessarily been practical in the past to localize one-off documentaries or very sort of short runs of series. That's the sort of content that hasn't tended to go through a traditional dubbing process. It's tended to be your sort of big sort of returning series or formatted shows where you can probably get some economies of scale. But what we have been able to do via this partnership is take a whole load of content that is in many cases single or 2-3 parters, and bring it all together, and then make it sort of potentially suitable for the dubbing process. So it opens up this content for the first time in a non-English language.
Great, absolutely. So cost and efficiency is one thing. What about the quality of AI dubbing compared with using human dubbing? Do you feel secure about the quality of the content provided by AI?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been running a kind of sort of effectively a tender process for well over, I think, a year. We've talked to a lot of different AI providers, and I think I'll say sort of overall, I've been really, really impressed across the board with the quality. I think the technology is genuinely game changing, and for us, it was a case of we are because of the uniqueness of our business model and the fact that we don't own the content that we will be dubbing, we had to have obviously conversations with all of the partners that we're licensing the content from. We had to ask permission. We had to work out what would, how would costs be shared between us and them, both in terms of a trial phase, but also going forward. And I think the thing that stood out about Anton and his team was that they were very collaborative from the start about the kind of potential sort of business model around doing this. And we're very keen to work on a kind of sort of basis where we would say, look, let's get a significant amount of content that we can use. We'll focus it in one genre. We chose true crime as a genre because it's very popular, very internationally popular. We've got a lot of access to content, but also sort of, we felt like it was good to sort of test it in something like that, which is quite hard to localize. It tends to have multiple voices in each episode. And we kind of sort of wanted to try out the quality of the dubbing, how the audience responded to the dubbing, which is a really important thing. It's audience expectations and how they feel about the quality, and crucially for us as well, the return on investment. That's absolutely critical, and it's important to say we're still on that journey. So we're not at the end of it. We still we're relatively speaking close to the start than at the beginning, than at the end. So that's the sort of importance. It's about the sort of quality of the product, how the audience responds to it, and does it provide a return on the investment? Can we generate more income as a result of the new viewing that we're getting in all the different ways that we can distribute the content?
Right, absolutely. Okay. Staying on that theme of quality, Anton, bringing you back in, you talked quite a lot during your presentation about human AI collaboration. Can you tell us a little bit more about the human in the loop aspect of this? How does that work in practice, and what are the kind of advantages and disadvantages of that approach as far as you're concerned?
Yes, absolutely. Happy to talk about that. So because this is such a key, a cornerstone part of what Dubformer does, as I said in the presentation earlier. So this is the foundation of our strategy, combining actually artificial and human intelligence, and we do that exactly to reach the quality that's broadcast level, to move from quite impressive demos of AI dubbing, AI localization, to something that could be actually launched on TV, on OTT platforms, on YouTube, and other platforms as well. So yeah, this is so this human in the loop is exactly the factor that allows to bring the quality to this level. So, and I saw one of the questions in the chat as well regarding that, from Jake Robbins, about how human correction, which human correction is required, and how does it work when there is a mistake in the audio. So I'll just give one example. So the human in the loop workforce that we have, they have different, the people there have different specializations. I want to touch a group of people that we call proof listeners that identify and fix mistakes in audio. So whenever some word is pronounced in the wrong way, or the AI gets the intonation of the phrase wrong, you're just accenting the wrong word, or just putting the stress not where it should be, or getting emotions incorrectly. So one of the cool tools that we created is the one where this proof listener, when they identify the mistake, they pronounce the same phrase with the correct intonation, or pronounce individual words with the correct pronunciation. And our technology is able to transfer this intonation contour to the generative voice and kind of re-synthesize this small piece, and then rerun the process of the post-production around it. So kind of adjust the timings and put it in the correct place, adjust the volumes, adjust the sound effects and everything that I mentioned. And it just seamlessly fixes the mistake with the intonation or pronunciation. So there's no like simple editing the audio, when you record some piece and you put that into a soundtrack, this just wouldn't work because, yeah, first of all, because you need to match the voice, the generated voice, the AI voice. And this is hard to do. So what we do is we transfer additional information about how this phrase should be pronounced to the generative voice. So that's how it works.
Great. Fascinating stuff. Now you talked quite a lot about the different aspects of this in terms of you can do voiceover, you can do lip syncing, you can increasingly, you know, match the AI generated voiceover with the actual, you know, perfectly with the script. And you even talked about possibly in the future manipulating the lips through AI of the speaker and so forth. I mean, what do you see as the kind of key emerging trends in AI dubbing, particularly from this technical point of view?
What a good question. So from the technical point of view, I think there's a lot to develop in AI technology on basically on every stage. So there's lots still yet to improve, even in the speech recognition part, like creating original script, and translation part, specifically getting more context into consideration when it comes to translation. And just the journey to the perfect translation seems to be almost infinite. So there's still ways to improve. But I want to focus on the part that's creating voices. And basically, the big thing that we need to overcome, we as a scientific community as well, is just improving the expressiveness of voices that could be created by generative AI. So being able to just show bright emotions, this is something that's required, that is still in research, and that's required for AI dubbing and voiceover, basically, yeah, more for AI dubbing to be used in more expressive types of content, like content for kids, just serious sitcoms, Hollywood movies and stuff like that. And this is the exciting area of R&D. And my feeling, my expectation is that this is something that will happen during the next 15 months. So, yeah, this is the right time to build AI dubbing system.
It's clearly a fast-moving area. Alex, do you have anything sort of to add to that in terms of what you see as key trends from the at the front end, where you're dealing with the commercial aspects of all this and the putting it into practice with actual content?
Yeah, I think I've also just been having a look through some of the questions. There's some really good ones that have come in, and I think, you know, kind of I think the thing that we're all kind of, I suppose, grappling with as an industry is the opportunity, whilst also ensuring that the kind of we're not putting out a product that is that is low quality or doesn't sort of match the quality of the original content that was obviously produced with a lot of sort of love and care and attention. And I think that dubbing is could be seen as being sort of like a very controversial thing to do, because obviously it replaces the audio from the original films. And so, that's something that we're sort of very mindful of. I think that there is, though, there's always going to be a sort of a starting point and an end point to the technology, or there probably isn't an end point, but there's a development of the technology. And I think that we're at the point now where the quality is good enough to be able to be, in the vast majority of cases, for it to give a far better understanding of what is going on in a piece of content than subtitles alone. And I think that alone takes content in front of more, bigger audiences, and gives more people a chance to enjoy the amazing content that is being created across the world. So I think that there is I think most audiences accept and will accept a degree of this isn't going to be as perfect as the original, but it's better than me reading subtitles, and it's more accessible to me, and I'm going to watch this more as a result. and then the technology will just improve, and it will be, you know, kind of like little by little. But we'll see all of those aspects that Anton's talked about, you know, kind of the lip syncing, the matching of voices. You know, in the film that we just showed the clip from, you know, the narrator on that film is Mark Strong's, a very famous sort of British actor. You know, there is a whole kind of piece in Hollywood at the moment about the you know, kind of whether sort of you know, actors are going to be able to sort of, you know, license their digital rights to their voice, their AI rights to the voice. And I think that's a really, really important debate that we're going to be having, and needs to have sort of, you know, sort of clear resolution on. But you know, I think that this is an evolution, and I think that where we are at now is that the quality is actually is definitely good enough to get out in front of audiences. And like I said earlier, we're really keen as part of this process to get the content out in front of our audiences with a clear disclaimer or description saying this has been generated by AI. We're not trying to hide the fact that it's AI. We're very sort of like, you know, very proud of the fact that we're doing this with AI, and we kind of want to solicit that feedback. You know, is this, you know, did you enjoy this film? Did you understand it? Did it grate in any way? We can get that feedback, and that's part of the kind of partnership with Dubformer, is that we can then feed back, so that hopefully there can be adjustments and improvements going forward.
Great. Yeah. I mean, you made a strong case there for the use of AI and the advantages it brings. Just, I mean, before we look at some of the questions, we've had a lot of questions coming in from the audience. You talked a little bit there about some of the controversies around the use of AI and all that we've heard during the actor strike and so forth. How do you personally feel about the future of AI within the media industry and within this context?
Well, I think, I mean, Anton actually referenced the fact that, you know, AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for human ingenuity and human creativity. And in all aspects of what we do at Little Dot, that absolutely holds true for me. Whether it's AI dubbing or whether it is, you know, we're doing a lot of content at the moment, which is using tools like Midjourney to create sort of imagery, especially for our historical content, which is obviously, you struggle to find footage, you know, as the further you go back. So, you know, being able to sort of use AI to generate imagery that can illustrate new stories. So I'm very excited about the potential of it. I am, though, you know, we talk every day about all of the different sort of, you know, the moral and legal conundrums that it throws up. And, you know, I think as an industry, we're asking the right questions at the moment. And I think that, you know, all of the different people that are going to be affected by this are absolutely right to kind of say, look, you know, kind of, we have concerns. But, you know, kind of addressing those concerns doesn't mean that we have to, you know, sort of not use the technology. It's just we have to put in place appropriate guardrails. And I think, you know, the key thing for me is about being front and center with the audience about what tools have been used. I don't think that there's anything to be gained by trying to pretend that that something is not been, you know, dubbed with AI, or that an image hasn't been changed or manipulated using AI to make it look something different. I think the audience will understand if the reason you did it is legitimate. That's great. It was all for, you know, your sort of, you know, further entertainment, to illustrate something, to do something that wasn't previously possible. I think that the danger lies when people try and hide the fact that the tools have been used from the audience. I think because, you know, then you get sort of manipulation of what is seen to be, you know, sort of original truth, but also all sorts of other controversies, as you say. So yeah, I think it's a good and healthy debate that the industry is having at the moment about AI.
Transparency is obviously key to that. And Anton, perhaps the same question to you. I mean, as someone who's been deeply involved in the development of these technologies, how do you feel about the future of AI in media?
Yeah, I completely agree with Alex here. So yeah, first of all, AI is always a tool, and it does not prevent humans from actually doing the creative, the cool parts of everything that we do. So even with AI dubbing, what we're doing, we're focusing on AI plus human collaboration. And cool and important thing is that we're creating this new kind of occupation of proof listening, which goes there. But yeah, society is totally right to raise some concerns, and we need to be careful. We need to navigate this new exciting age of AI, basically coming everywhere with care. Yeah, we need to remember that everything should be done for the viewers, for the customers. So they're at the center of the whole ecosystem. So their happiness, their user experience, their viewer experience is what we focus on. So this is our approach at Dubformer.
Right, absolutely. Okay, let's take a look at some of the questions coming in from the audience. As I say, we had quite a number. It's obviously a topic that's really engaged people. Some of them we've I think already touched on. One here, can you provide APIs or I guess support for regional languages for content owners?
So it's a little, I'm not 100% sure that I understand the question. But yeah, we do have we do have ability to provide different APIs, like the ones the parts of the system that do not require human interaction or human collaboration. We can provide APIs to, and we support lots of different languages. Some of them could be called regional, I guess, like maybe is Catalan the good example for regional language? I don't know. So yeah, this is one of the languages that we provide. Yeah, so if you have specific requests about the API, please do not hesitate to reach us, reach me personally. We can talk about that, how we can be helpful there, or what's the, yeah, what are possibilities of our systems.
There's one specific question on Persian and Arabic, asking if you support those languages.
Yeah, we do. We do support both Persian and Arabic. And just to be a little bit more clear, so there's an asymmetry to what we do. There's input languages and output languages, what we call it, or source and target languages. So as a target language, we support both Persian and Arabic. So everything could be dubbed into Persian and Arabic. And by the way, lots of different variations of Arabic we support. I think more than 15 different variation of voices, because Arabic is the correct term is a macro language. It's not just a single language with lots of different variations as well. But as input languages, at the moment, we do not support Persian or Arabic, but I think the support for Arabic should be there pretty soon. Yeah, this is how it is with these languages.
Okay. Right. There's a question on the additional of emotion in the dubbing. What analytic inputs are required to add emotion in synthetic dubbing, and can that process be transcoded live on different encoding formats?
Interesting question. So there's so many layers to how you can approach this like emotional analysis of the video. So some stuff could be done with just an audio, right? So from the audio, I can extract some information about whether the person seems happy or sad or sarcastic or tired, or all the other different things that could happen with the voice. But sometimes it's hard to judge from just the audio, and you need to get the video context. And if you see the person's face, then you're able to analyze deeper what kind of emotions are there. Also, there's lots of different ways to like kind of categorize and map the different emotions. So what like scientific community is now using is this map of like 9. So it's a round map of 9 main emotions that could show up in the voice or in the speech, but they're highly debatable. So this is kind of like separating between, like organizing different colors into the same system. So yeah, the humanity is battling about that for decades already.
Yeah, so very motivating,
yeah, hard to organize. When you analyze the emotions in the original video, then you need to transfer some of them to the target soundtrack, which is tricky as well. Some things, so it's less. It happens not all the time. Rarely kind of happens, but sometimes the original context is like that, so that you actually need to remove some of the emotional stuff, or add some of the emotional stuff when you're doing AI dubbing. So it can hardly be automated like 100%. So there should be controls handed to the proof listener in order to manipulate all these things. So really exciting area for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtlety, I guess, involved in all of that. A question on translation: is the translation itself of the text done by AI, and how accurate is that, if so?
Yes, another good question. So yes, the translation of the text is done with AI, with human post editors. So whenever the quality is, whenever the AI translation gets something wrong, we can ensure, we can guarantee great quality by just kind of proofreading everything and guaranteeing that everything's translated correctly. But I have big background in machine translation. This is actually the field that I come from. I worked for like more than 8 years in machine translation. So, and I must say that the development of machine translation as the time goes by is pretty exciting. So I think from the projections that I've seen in the industry, it's gonna take us only like maybe 4 more years to reach the kind of quality of machine translation where when the time that's required for post-editing machine translation is actually equal to the time to just read the translated results. So there will always be some mistakes, maybe 1 word in 1,000 words or something like that. But this is going to be, so in 4 years, there's going to be a point where machine translation just so rarely makes mistakes, then the proofreading basically becomes just reading and not fixing anything.
I mean, there's always human error in translation as well, so it's not necessarily machine translation that might get things wrong.
True. Yeah.
So a question on, I think you mentioned kids a little bit before, but a question from Paul Robinson here. Can you ask whether you have any examples of successful lip sync dubbing of kids animated content? And if yes, well, I want to ask about costs, but he's asking if you've got examples of successful lip syncing dubbing of kids animated content.
Yeah, so to be completely direct and transparent, so we've done lots of experiments with kids animated content, but I mean, in the end, probably none of them I would call successful because we haven't had launched something on, like, haven't had reached the broadcast level quality yet. But I feel like, so just this month, next month, this is something that we're diving into as well. So please reach out to us, and if you have such content, then you're very welcome to test our solutions and just see if it works for you. Because my expectation is that the technology wasn't there like 3 months ago when we tested it, 1 month ago when we tested it. It's definitely going to be there really soon. So yeah, you're welcome to come and check this out, and maybe you and your company will be the one ahead of the curve in this kind of content.
Yep. There's a question on, I guess, the kind of copyright issue. When you have the voices, do those involve residuals or rights cleared for all time? With, I guess this is one of the questions that's come up, that's been discussed quite widely recently. Is that something you can comment
on? Yes, of course. So first of all, like Alex mentioned, so we're pretty flexible in terms of this legal stuff, the licensing and stuff like that. So we're willing to work with our partners with every specific case. What would be the best solution? What would be the best kind of agreement there? But our general approach is that we provide the technology and the process of the solution for AI dubbing. So we do not own the content that goes to us for dubbing, and we do not own the results. So basically, this is just an instrument that our partners use to get their content localized as well. So sometimes we put in the terms that allows us to use the dubbed content to improve the technology that we have. Sometimes we do not put it in, so we're flexible about that. So it's really cool when we get permission from our partners to use some of the content to improve the technology, but yes, we're flexible around that as well.
Right. Okay. Question on mixing. Can you have both synthetic dubbing and human dubbing mixed together in a feed?
Definitely. We had such projects already, and this is one of the kind of the growth, the scale strategies that we see for AI dubbing as well. Like if you're doing like a Hollywood movie, maybe you care very much about emotions for main characters, but you're willing to compromise and to spend less money for like secondary characters, for example. So definitely because of the whole sound production that is being done on our site, we're able to mix basically any different different soundtracks and stuff like that. So it can definitely be the way to go.
Okay, another question. How do you deal with different dialects? And this is I guess this is similar to regional languages, but just in terms of dialects and accents, Italian, English, and Spanish when localizing content.
So yeah, when also this is another question with asymmetry in it. So when we talk about the dialects that are present in the original audio track, it's usually not a big problem for us at all. Just the technology that we have for speech recognition is really reliable, and it's basically it doesn't care very much about the accents and the regional peculiarities of how everything's pronounced. Usually our speech recognition can get everything right, and whenever it gets something wrong, of course there are post editors to fix these mistakes. And when we're talking about the output side, then as I mentioned, we have for lots of different languages, we have lots of different variants and regional variations of the voices that we support. Like I mentioned, we have like more than 15 different variations for Arabic. We also have different variations for Spanish, used in mainland Spain, in Latin America, different parts of it as well. We have variations for Spanish, sorry, already mentioned Spanish, variations for French, variations for English, other languages as well. So each variation, each accent should be kind of supported beforehand. So it takes some work to put a new accent, a new language variation into our system. But once it's there, it can be used pretty openly.
Great. Here's an interesting one. Can you voice over a song?
What a nice question. Yeah, so answer is yes and no, and more yes than no, actually. So we have just for fun, just for the sake of it, we're experimenting within the team with dubbing songs and voiceovering songs as well, and it seemed to work pretty nicely, but it requires just lots of human interaction, human control. Just so basically, what we're doing right now is we can transfer the intonation, the pitch contour as well, from the human singer to the generative voice, to the AI voice. Yeah, so it works, but right now it requires just tons of human work as well. The result is funny though.
Great. Okay. Just wrap up with one that's a little bit related to that. Do you think AI could fully replace humans in the next few years, 5 or 10 years?
Are we speaking about dubbing here or just the general life?
Let's stick to dubbing.
Yeah, so in 5 years, definitely not. It's hard for me to see as far away as 10 years. It's hard to say what's going to be with technology, but the way we see it, the way it goes right now, so it will be a process of AI being the tool for humans and just being a more and more powerful tool. Will never replace humans as it goes right now.
Okay, well, that's something I'm probably grateful for. Okay, great. We have run out of time. There are some questions left from people, and we will try and get those answered offline for you from Anton and Alex, if appropriate. So I'd like to thank our speakers today, Anton Vorkovich and Alex Krenievich, for really a very detailed, outstanding discussion, very interesting stuff. I'd also like to thank Dubformer for sponsoring today's event. And on behalf of Digital TV Europe, have a great remainder of your day. Thanks very much for joining us.